What do you think is the best way for an autistic guy to get better at talking to people and being more open? And following that, what would be the best way for an autistic person to know how to ask someone on a date? And of course, it's okay to ask. So you don't have to ask if it's okay to ask. Play D&D. So the thing is that I understand that a lot of autism therapy is basically teaching you how to mask. Masking for autistic people is like where you act quote unquote normal when it comes to neurotypical people. And I don't know the severity of the autism for the person that submitted the question. I only know my experience with my autistic daughter. And I don't know. So it's like, depending on how verbal you are, how good you are at making eye contact, that sort of thing, it can be difficult. But that's the thing is like, I want to preface this by saying that like autism or any sort of like neurodivergent diagnosis is never an excuse for misbehavior. So trying to preface what I'm saying, but it is okay to just be more open about the fact that you do have autism, that you are autistic, because then it's like, you can ask the people that are around you to be like, be direct with me because I might not understand if you're being subtle or things like that. Like you can ask the people around you to adjust a little bit because like what I've noticed or what I've been told is that reading between the lines is a lot more difficult between neurodivergent people and neurotypical people because you just think differently. So it is one of those things where it's like, I need you to just be direct with what you want. You don't like the smell of hair, do it yourself? What? Autistic and dating. And that's the thing too, is like, I mean, I'm too old for a diagnosis, but I'm pretty sure I'm autistic. But I think I just learned at a very early age, just out of necessity for survival. I think I learned how to mask my behaviors at an incredibly early age with my family. Hair dye. Oh, I mean, all hair dyes smell different though. Unrelated to the question. I need to focus on the question, sorry. But as far as like getting better at talking to people, I mean, the only way to get better at talking, because it's not even just autistic people that have trouble talking to people. There's plenty of people that are neurotypical and shy or have phobias. And really the only way to get better at talking to people is to just talk to people. And I'm sorry that I don't have like a simpler fix than that, but it is just a matter of talking to people. But you can find, like someone said, like do D&D, do VR chat, that sort of stuff. And well, take that with a grain of salt because I've seen some toxic behavior in VR chat. People that just, they try to be edgelords. But there are ways for you to kind of ease yourself into it. So like even just like talking in chat, if is a good first step. If you're not used to conversing with people, is joining in conversations in a Twitch chat if you're not ready to talk out loud to people. And then after that is, video game chat, which again, take it with a grain of salt because there's toxic behavior in game chats. VR chat, League, Overwatch. But it's how the subtle cues don't always connect. Yes, you can just be honest that subtlety or like you're not going to be able to read their mind. So just like you can ask people to just be direct and just tell you things. And that it'll be better and you're not going to be offended if they're direct. You know? Right. But then as far as like the best way to know how to ask someone on a date, I don't think it's any different for anybody else. I think asking someone you like out on a date is a scary experience or a thrilling experience, because there's always that doubt. Even for the most confident of people, there's always that doubt in the back of your minds. Unless you're Gaston from Beauty and the Beast, you have a little bit of doubt that they're gonna want to date you. And so like that doubt, or like that asking them out won't go well, is perfectly normal. But if you ask someone out on a date, the worst that they're gonna say is no. That's it. That's the worst that can happen, is that they'll say no, but they're gonna feel flattered that you asked. So you basically complimented them. And isn't that nice? I know it hurts to get turned down. But if there's someone you like that you already talk to and you connect with, and you think there's possibility of a romantic connection, I mean, if you're not ready to ask them out on a date, you can just be like, hey, I like you. I was wondering if you feel the same way. And while it's scary, at least you know. And it gets a direct answer, hopefully. Greed, thank you for the follow. But that's the thing, is that if you're concerned about the best way to ask someone on a date, asking someone in a direct manner to do something with you, like, would you like to go on a date with me and do something with me? Being direct is the best approach no matter what. It doesn't matter that you're autistic. That's the best approach for everybody, I think. Hello, Greed. Stretch. All right, hold on. So I think in that case, getting better at talking to people, it's okay to ask people to be direct with you. And the best way for you to ask someone on a date, be direct when you ask them on a date. Be clear of your intentions. Hey, I like you and I'd really like to go on a date with you. Would you like to go on a date? And the worst that will happen is they'll say no. That's it. And then you did it. You asked someone on a date. But they might say yes, and then you'll have a date. So best way is to just be very clear when you're asking what your intentions are. But that's the case for everybody, I think. Not just autistic people. I think everybody is, hey, so I like you, and I'd really like to go on a date with you. Would you like to go on a date? Or, I like you and I'd really like to get to know you better. Would you like to go on a date with me? But yeah, no, the best way to get better at talking to people is to talk to people. And the best way to ask someone on a date is be direct and clear on your intentions when asking them out on a date. Yep, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. But the majority of people, like 99.9% of people, that date have been shot down at some point, at least once, myself included. So that's the scariest thing is going to happen, is that you're going to be turned down. That's not so bad. And maybe you won't be turned down. Maybe they like you too, and they've just been subtle about it, and you weren't sure. So yeah, be brave and be confident in yourself. Like, you're a great person that just happens to be autistic too. So you just need people to be direct. But that also means you also need to be direct sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. Like when you ask someone on a date, be direct. I hope that helps.